Hey y'all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. And if you're new here, simply welcome. My name is Angel, aka the Angelic Muse, and I am an intuitive tarot reader as well as a certified Reiki practitioner. And I'm here back with another pick a card. So, I know that nobody keeps up with the community tab. Mind you, I only got like 2 subscribers. No, I only have a few of you guys, but if you did keep up with it, I did say that I wasn't going to be posting or not posting. I wasn't taking appointments for 2 weeks. I had carpal tunnel surgery, you guys. You want to see my war wound? Mind you, it's not healed, but they did here, they went in through here, and then they went in through here. And if you know carpal tunnel surgery, you know carpal tunnel surgery. Anyway, I'm healing. I'm in a position where I can actually pull the cards now and like move my fingers, because that shit hurts. If you know, you goddamn know. But either way, this one is going to be based off of what is blocking your manifestation currently. So we have 3 piles here for you today. I have this first pile. Now, mind you, I googled these crystals because I told y'all I'm not good with them. So if I'm wrong on these crystals, somebody gonna let me know. Right? So look, this is a blue sands or sunstone, something like that. I could be wrong. Somebody let me know. This is a malachite. Let me know. Let me know. And then this one, it said it was Chevron Amethyst. Look. So, yeah, I said I'm gonna start putting them in the camera. I don't ever do that, but I want to kind of try to start doing that so you guys can see. And if I'm wrong, then you can let me know. But anyway, or if Google's wrong, because I didn't do that. I just did what I was supposed to do, which was Google it, and Google told me. But anyway, we have 3 piles here today, so you can meditate on the piles now. Pause the video. If you choose 1 pile, that's fine. If you choose 2, that's okay too. And if you choose none, it's not the reading for you. But I'd definitely like for you to come back soon, maybe the next one. Or one of the previous ones. You never know. Go check them out. But either way, all timestamps will be down below, as well as all the decks that I'm using on my links as well, where you can book me for a personal intuitive session, tarot or Reiki. And then you can also find my Instagram down there where you can connect with me. And if you like, I'm about to get back on it too. I really took a major break, like major. So, but yeah, I am here. I'm back and it feels good. So I thank you all for being here with me. Without further ado, go ahead and click on your timestamp and I will see you there. Hey, Pile One. So if you chose the blue sandstone, here is your reading. So we're going to start out with your tarot first. So for your first card, you have the 7 of Cups. For your second card, you have the 7 of Pentacles. And then for your third card, you have the Knight of Wands. So, based off your tarot, I would say that what is blocking your manifestation would be, you have the right, it seems to me from these cards alone, you have the right, like you have the determination, the goals, the desires there, but your execution isn't going as you may have planned it in your head, because it's not necessarily based off of realistic, like reality. So, and I don't mean that as if it's not, the goals are not attainable. I just mean it as if like you'll make a plan for something. It seems to me through these cards like you'll make a plan for something, it's for it to go one way, and then you won't have like alternate routes or detours or like plan Bs or things of that nature. You kind of just go for one thing, and if that doesn't go through, then you just try another thing. Whereas that's not necessarily the problem. The problem isn't the thing you're doing. It's just the way you go about it at a certain point. So say, for example, you want to, and this sounds crazy, but you want to learn how to ride a bike. When you learn how to ride a bike, you have to learn balance before you can just take off and just start riding. So it'll seem like, for an example of this would be, you will just plan to ride the bike, get the all the accessories for it to make it look nice, and look up all these tricks and stuff that you can learn before you can even ride the bike. And again, you have the goal in mind, you have the desire and drive is there with this Knight of Wands here. And it's interesting that I used that analogy, and I'm also using this learning, this deck for when you're learning tarot, because it's pretty fitting for your situation. You would want to learn how to take baby steps as opposed to just jumping. Because with the Seven of Cups here, you seem to have your mind full. You have these passions, these desires. It comes kind of spilling out into your everyday life, where you base every decision, every tiny decision, on that big goal, as opposed to just really living in the moment. But with this Seven of Pentacles energy here, it does seem like your patience may be coming into play, especially with this Knight of Wands energy. They just seem very combative. Seven of Pentacles is very slow to go. You have to pay attention to detail. You have to take out what's working and get rid of what's not. And keep what is. And with this Knight of Wands being as fiery and up for like anything, it kind of just seems like you have this this confusion that comes with it, that comes with your hastiness. You kind of get to the end of the whatever it is that you're trying to plan and realize that it's not working, and just kind of give up on it completely, because you don't really feel like you have the time to try to figure out what is wrong with that thing. You just want to kind of get rid of it altogether and start over. Let me see if I'm getting anything else. I will say this. With you having the 2 sevens here, and sevens representing the Chariot is a moving card. But it's more like a mental thing, more of a mental, it starts in the mind. You master the mind and you can master everything else. And I feel like if you were to slow down a bit with this Knight of Wands energy and not be so competitive, because it seems like the reason why you don't have this patience is because you're on a timeline that is, again, only in your head. Now, this could have something to do with a relationship. This could have something to do with work. This could have something to do with it seems like a dream, almost something big. So if it's like marriage minded or career minded influences here, then I do see that the thing that you're being asked about does need to have its time taken with it. And there's a lot more for you to learn here in terms of how, making decisions and not being so hasty, and just learning to be patient while your hard work is paying off. Because I think that maybe there are times when you may have a good thing going, and because you don't see it, you just get rid of it altogether too, because it doesn't make sense to you. And one thing that I believe is important to know is that it won't always make sense to you. And sometimes it won't make sense until it's done. Sometimes there are things that you need to learn throughout this process. Like say you're trying to create something for yourself and you have a way you want it to go. But maybe that way that you want it to go is very limited in comparison to what God wants for you. So I'm seeing here that a lot more inner work needs to be done as you play the waiting game. When it comes to this manifestation, because there is going to be a period, or you may be even in a period of waiting right now. It may be uncomfortable for you with this Knight of Wands. You kind of want to just jump to the next thing. And because you're being called to take your time with it, it's causing all these other thoughts to stir up in your mind, and your imagination is just going wild at this point. But it's on you to be able to slow it down and bring yourself to a place of peace and understanding as much as you can, and just let it go, because there are parts of this manifestation that won't require you to do anything but wait. And I think that even in the Seven of Pentacles energy, while you are waiting, I think it's important I'm hearing keep your eye on your own paper. So with this, he's very, and you don't have to be a man, but he's very in tune and engaged with what is growing here. And we all know the process of something growing isn't fun. It is slow. It's like, unless you got on like hyper speed, it's pretty cool to watch in that way. But to actually watch something grow is pretty boring. So I think that you're being called to you're going to be challenged with this manifestation, because it's of so much importance to you. And it is probably, for most of you, if you engage and you flow and you don't force anything, you will learn a lot more about yourself in the process. And then when it comes time for you to grow even more, you'll be thankful that this was the manifestation that taught you patience, because it will only get bigger and bigger and bigger for you, and better, as long as you are, understanding and cooperative. But what's meant for you will always be for you. And I think it's important to understand that, because you'll end up stressing yourself out. You'll allow your mind and your thoughts to take over and consume you. And it's important to be still, to be quiet, and to be still in meditation, and to pray, and to make sure that your relationship with God is strong enough to calm you down, essentially, because you obviously on your own, your mind seems to go wild, and you need something to bring you back. I think it's important to be still. But let me get into your oracle now. Let's see. So you have released jealousy for your Angels of Abundance oracle. Move these up. Hold on. Get them in the camera. You have released jealousy. You have singer voice. You have repairing the veil, forgiveness. You have self-esteem. I possess gifts of the soul that benefit me and others. And you have thinker here. So let me start out with this release jealousy card, only because it's reminding me of this Seven of Pentacles energy when I said to keep your eye on your own paper, and also with this Knight of Wands energy and them being so... Knight of Wands is not King of Wands. I mean, so Knight of Wands is just going to go. Like, King of Wands will go, but only when it's safe to go. Knight of Wands might just be on some, So I think, let me read it. It says, jealousy is an affirmation that you don't have something, and the universe manifests exactly as you affirm. Let other people's successes inspire rather than frustrate you. If they can have it, so can you. And that goes back to what I was saying up here. Like, when your imagination goes wild, and you may be paying attention to your own thing, and you may not like what you're seeing. You may not like the progress. You may not like the growth of it. You may not like how it looks, whatever the case may be. But if it's just a slow going process, I think it's important to understand that what we see as a result of like what people showcase and put out there for the world to see, it may look good, but we don't know the backstories to it. And even if we do, we probably still don't know it all. So I think it's important to just know that the grass is not always greener on the other side. And then sometimes it is because they're taking care of it. But if somebody is taking care of their grass and you're so busy paying attention to it, you can't take care of your own. So I think it's important to just be mindful that we all have our own paths. We all have our own designs and unique ways to go. And again, what may look easy for someone may not be as easy as you're thinking it is. And not only that, but it may be as easy as you're thinking it is. But to get there, we don't know what it took to get to the easy, to get to the effortless parts of it. So I think it's important to use those moments as motivation. As the card states, just use it as a motivator and use it as a catalyst and a means to inspire you to know that you can go for it too. Because at the end of the day, we're all human. Nobody is better than the other. And it's not a matter of you not being enough. It's a matter of you believing that you are enough. Even with this repairing the veil and forgiveness, I think it's important to not only forgive yourself, but others as well. If there's someone that you are at odds with in this time, like maybe if this is a comparison situation where you feel like again, like somebody has something you don't, or someone is living in luxury and you're not, someone's happy and you're not. I think it's important to know that, like, even with this bow, we're all interconnected, we're all intertwined. And there, even here, it's like thread or something like a little spoolie. It's a line, like a thin line. There's a very, very thin line between us and other people. And we are all connected and we all can learn something from one another. And I think, and it's interesting because with the veil, they're so thin. They're see-through, they're sheer. You can see through, depending on the density of it, but sometimes you can't. Like you could just kind of see like the sheer foggy mist. But regardless, you kind of do always get like a glimpse of it. So no matter what your veil looks like, whether it's a thin veil, a thick veil, whatever, and this is the veil between us and other people, like you and your partner, you and your family, you and whoever else, like a stranger even. In some instances, you'll find that you have more in common than you think. And it's important not to get too caught up in the what they have and what I don't have and what I do have and what they don't have, because again, neither of us is better than the other. And it's important to not let these thoughts and these fantasies and illusions that we have caught up in our mind to get the best of us, because they turn into hallucinations. With this Seven of Cups, they turn into hallucinations, they turn into altered realities. And your mind, your thoughts, it starts with you and what you tell yourself and what you put into yourself. Even with this singer voice card, I'm going to read that out the book, but the voice of it, the word voice in here just reminds me of the power of our voices, the power in our words. And to be real, and it sounds so crazy, but if you can't sing it to yourself, if you can't sing it to yourself, don't say it to yourself. We sing cheerful. I mean, we might sing a breakup, heartbreak song every now and then, whatever. We got the playlist going. But I'm saying for the most part, we want to sing uplifting music. We want to sing happily. We want to sing loudly. So if you can't say it loudly, happily, or in a way that is going to help and benefit you, if you can't say these things to yourself or other people, then don't say it at all, because there's power in your words, so much power in your words. And especially when it comes going back to the self-esteem card, I possess gifts of the soul that benefit me and others. So you want it to benefit all, not just other people. You don't want to be out here jealous of people, giving them fuel like, oh, you're so much better than me, you have this. No, they don't. They're not. You are who you are, and you are beautiful as you are, and you need to know that, just as you can tell other people that. Maybe for some of you, and for others of you, it seems like you're harboring some sort of like animosity towards these people. There are some of you that seem like you kind of it's a form of admiration, but it's almost like I could never have that. And then the others of you is like, well, why do you have that and I don't? I know I could never have that. But either way, it goes back to you not being able to have it, or you feeling like you won't have it because of the way that it looks to you right now, or the way that it looks in comparison to other people. Even going back to this thinker card, well, I haven't even touched on it, but going to this thinker card, it's crazy because it all really does connect, because it goes back to this Seven of Cups energy. Some of you may be overthinking, and some of you may not be thinking enough. I think this is a call to be logical, and the only reason is because she's alone. She's alone, and she has nothing around her but these blocks that she can sit on, but she has nobody around her. And I think that for some of you, you need to be alone, find some stillness, some quiet time, so that you're able to gather your thoughts and get back into that creative mind mode and erase and eliminate all outside distractions and just focus on you. But then there's others of you who are spending too much time in isolation, and this thinking is causing you to overwhelm yourself. And that's causing the self-esteem issues, and then the jealousy, and then the hastiness, and the quick decisions, and the, I don't want to do this anymore, But your work is coming together. You have endless possibilities in front of you, and there's what's ultimately blocking your manifestation are the things you're telling yourself, the way you look at yourself, and the way you view others. There's no one answer to how to get out of this, but for everyone it'll be it's very specific. But I do think talking to someone, getting it down, and writing, even like, I know therapy for everyone isn't necessarily the most affordable thing, but there are so many ways to self-help yourself, just to get that going. Listen to words of affirmation, tell yourself words of affirmation, just to make yourself feel better, and to start to know it. Because whatever it is that you are reaching for and striving for in this moment, it's meant for you. It's just you are trying to go ahead of it in a way and hurry up and be this thing and be this big person, and or have this great thing, and it doesn't seem like whatever it is it's coming together, but it's not quite done. It's not quite done coming together. And I think you being patient would be beneficial to you. But before I go, I do want to read the oracle cards for you all. So you have Singer, and that is on page 140. And it says, we have the ability to emit a remarkable array of sounds, starting with speech and all of the variations and intonations that a spoken language demands. Although several other animals also express through their voice in some manner, the human voice is characterized by a wide range of possible expressions depending on volume, pitch, inflection, and other characteristics. This range of possibilities becomes even more apparent with singing. Singing depends on four mechanisms: the lungs, which supply the air; the larynx, which acts as a reed or vibrator; the chest, head cavities, and skeleton, which function as an amplifier; and the tongue, which works with the palate, teeth, and lips to articulate and form the sounds that come forth. Aside from the technical description of the mechanics involved, singing can express any mood you're feeling. At times, coming from a deep and soulful place, giving voice to emotions that can't be expressed in other ways. It's a direct window into our soul, one we can tap into anytime we choose. Sing as if no one is listening is an adage that is appropriate whether you sing by yourself, with a group, or to an audience. The self-consciousness you may feel when you sing or attempt to sing, fostered by shame that most likely was embedded early in childhood, physically restricts your vocal cords, constricts your breathing, tightens your muscles, and inhibits the range of your voice. The result is when you attempt to sing, your inner critic jumps in to chastise you. This reinforces the already existing shame you feel at such self-expression. The barriers that were constructed in childhood and maintained through adulthood can now be dissolved. However, it will take your willingness to do what's necessary to lose that well-rehearsed self-consciousness. Start by singing in the shower. Sing when no one's around, then take a few voice lessons. With or without a musical instrument, make songs up, just as an uninhibited child would do. Over time, you'll find that singing regularly increases your confidence when speaking as well, and your breathing will improve when you're not singing. Most of all, have fun with this, and remember to call on the ancestors to support your efforts. So yeah, that just further confirms this whole releasing jealousy, Seven of Pentacles, keeping your eye on your own paper, Knight of Wands, energy of being too hasty, and then Seven of Cups of just allowing the outside world or whoever it is in your circle to, maybe it's you scrolling through social media, maybe it's you hearing other people say things, or whatever the case may be, but there is something that is literally causing you, and it starts with you, but you may be adding on to that with the outside influences. You cannot continue to compare yourself. You are special just as you are. And I know it's easier said than done, but you really got to learn how to not give a fuck. And I know it's so hard. It is so hard to not give a fuck. Like, like about people's opinions, because if you really literally, okay, go on YouTube and search up pretty much anything, and you'll find somebody doing a video on it. You'll find somebody just doing something along those lines. And you may even find something crazier than that sometimes. And I know this is probably so off topic and random, but I just want to show how much people don't give a fuck. And we will literally be in our own little world. And we'll be like, oh, well, what if this? What if that? No. Literally. There are people who don't care. Be one of those people who does not care about opinions. Do you, as long as you are not hurting anybody, harming anybody, or causing anybody to feel like bad about themselves or anything like that. If all you are here to do is give love and give light and be a light, and you are just allowing your voice and your inner critic and maybe the voices of other people from the past, even now, to stop you, you have to get away from those people. And getting away from yourself is just to get quiet. Just meditate and just sit. Don't say a word. The next time you want to say something bad about yourself, consciously make it a point to not. Catch yourself and change it. Because there's too much. You've come too far, and you've done too much work to allow someone, even if that someone is yourself, to come in and sabotage that. Because the higher version of yourself, the version of yourself that knows better, knows that there's more in store for you. And God knows that too. And I think it's important to know that when you cannot rely on yourself, because even here with this repairing the veil, forgiveness with this butterfly, and I know that it's probably cliche to refer to butterflies in their cocoon, and then when they're forming from a caterpillar to one. However, they literally don't know what's going on. Maybe somebody, I know it sounds crazy, but maybe another butterfly told them as a caterpillar, like, listen, this is going to happen to you, but you still don't know it until you go through it. So the point I'm trying to make is that you can hear from me or anybody else a million times that you have to do this, you have to do that, you can do this, you hear suggestion after suggestion after suggestion, but inner you, the one that is connected to source, the one that is connected to God, knows exactly what it is that you need. You just have to find the stillness, the silence, in the will. Like, you really got to drive yourself to this, because this Knight of Wands energy that you have, it may keep you from it just because you're so used to like getting rid of one thing and going to the next because this didn't work out. Let me try this. Oh, well, it's taking too long. You know, you can't rely on yourself at this point. Just pray about it. Get out your head if you are in it too much, and think a little more logically if you're not in it enough. If you're more of like a dreamer, imagination, you gotta, you would want to put more thought and logic into your process so that you're not so hasty. But for those of you who just so happen and get like caught up in your head, even though the plan is already moving, you need to get quiet and still. But yeah, Power One. I didn't get into your other oracles here because I feel like they're pretty. I explained them through the way I intuitively picked up on them, so I didn't read those. But this voice singer one did stick out to me, because it's so random in comparison to the others. Is singer, right? So, but it is interesting though, because even if you take the analogy of like just singing, everybody can't sing, but just like people don't give a damn about their voice and they still sing loud and proud anyway. That's how you need to go about this manifestation and know that you have what it takes. So yeah, Power One, if this resonated with you, please let me know down in the comments, like and subscribe if you choose to. You can always connect with me on Instagram at theangelicmuse, and you can book a personal session with me if you'd like. I do intuitive tarot sessions as well as distance Reiki sessions over on my website at theangelicmuse.com. But I thank you all for being here, and I pray you enjoy the rest of your day or night. Hey, Pal 2. So if you chose the Malachite crystal, here is your reading. Let's start out with your tarot. So for your first card, you have the Four of Wands. Your second card, you have the Six of Cups. And then your third card is the Ten of Cups in reverse. So I think what is blocking your manifestation is that there is more work that needs to be done and before you get there. So this one is giving me relationship vibes. It doesn't have to be, but with this Four of Wands and this Ten of Cups, even the Six of Cups really, but it's just giving me, I see two people here, two people here, two people here. So it's giving me relationship. If this isn't one, then if this isn't about one, then excuse me. But so I am picking up that there's something that's being built, or in the process of being built, or was being built. I only say that because this Ten of Cups is in reverse. So for some of you, this may have simply put a damper on things, or a blockage. But for some of you, it may have completely ended something. But that doesn't mean it's like, this is just a tarot reading, so it's not like forever and ever. If that is the case, it doesn't have to be. Cards do reverse. And with this Four of Wands, I just see two people who really will go the distance for each other. I see two people who are in it to win it, and they want to leave behind what no longer serves them. They want to just focus on each other. They want to build a home, a community, a family. They want to prosper together. They want to build. They have built. There's so much abundance in this card. To start out the reading, it just seems like two people who really love each other and want to see the best for themselves and the other person. And then with this Six of Cups, maybe children are involved for some of you. But there just seems to be a bit of familiarity with the person. You may feel like, or the thing that you're manifesting, you may feel like this may be something that you've wanted to do since you were a child. This may be something that you've grown to like build a bond with, that is like it just reminds you of being a kid again. Like you just feel like kind of carefree. Maybe if this is your partner, maybe they make you feel like a child. Maybe they make you feel like everything's going to be okay. Maybe they feel like a safe space to you, or you feel like a safe space to them. Or maybe what it is that you're manifesting, if this is like a career that brings joy and brings like it just a sense of like, I don't want to say immaturity because that sounds so negative, but it's like a sense of like just playfulness to the energy. I feel like the two cards here together, they really give me the sense that this has been going on for either quite some time. This has been a manifestation that's been wanted for quite some time. And the reason it's not happening is, again, because it's not finished yet. There are still some steps that need to be learned. There's still some, before you get to the 10 of Cups, which is like everything you could ever ask for, you can't just jump from the 6 of Cups, or even, excuse me for hitting the mic, or even the 4 of Wands. You will end up with a faulty foundation. I do think it's interesting how the 4 and the 6 do equal the 10. So it's giving me the feeling that there's some pushback. There may be some pushback from one person or both of you in terms of what you're willing to compromise with. Is giving me like two. And you know what? If this is about a relationship, in terms of a relationship, I remember hearing once, and I'll never forget it, even though I'm probably not going to get the words correct completely. It was just along the lines of, a relationship or a marriage or a partnership with someone is one of the hardest relationships that you'll have to cultivate. And that's not to put a negative on it. It's just to say it'll be hard because you're coming from two totally different backgrounds. You have two totally different upbringings. You've been around two totally different people. Even if you grew up together, like in the same schools or something like that, you still have a difference in upbringing. You don't have the same parents. They don't have the same parents. Their parents. You know what I mean? So there's a whole long line of understanding that has to come before you get to this 10 of Cups energy with your partner or with your manifestation in general. Before you can get to this energy of having everything that it is you need, you have to first understand the beginning. And it's interesting. The 6 of Cups says returning to one's roots. And it does. It says children, childhood memories, past influences, nostalgia, reunions. So going to this past influences here, maybe there are some things that need to be totally eliminated. And I say that because this 4 of Wands, there's this tower in the back. It's very bland and gray, and it's giving nothing, not life, not nothing. It's like, no, it's just not giving anything. And it's like, maybe there are certain things and past influences that need to be walked away from in order for this 10 of Cups energy to emerge. Maybe the two of you need to understand, if this is about a partnership, maybe the two of you need to understand that even as adults, we're all just children trying to figure this out. We are all just trying to figure it out, you know, and I think it's important to give grace and think long term in terms of the situation that you're going for. Because, I mean, with this fiery energy, the 4 of Wands, it's doing energy, but then you get to this emotional aspect of it with the Cups, where you have to stop doing and start feeling. And it seems like with this 10 of Cups in reverse, there's just certain uncomfortable parts of this dynamic that don't want to be touched or tapped into. And it's leading to, that's why the word immature came to me. That would make sense. It's leading to this immature, this childlike energy with the 6 of Cups. This 6 of Cups, and it's not a negative card. It's just to say, I do believe that it's saying that, you know, tap into your childlike innocence, but not the immature side of it, if that makes sense. You know, be playful, be forgiving, be loving, but don't be fooled. Don't be swayed by past, like anything that you're used to doing. If there is a bad habit that you need to break, it's time to be broke for that to be broken. Same with your partner or whatever this is, in order to move into this 10 of Cups energy. If this is not dealing with a relationship, and this is simply dealing with, maybe there's a particular job you want, maybe there's a career you want, maybe you want, I don't know, a car, whatever. You can't be immature in a car. You can't be immature with a family, none of these things. So it's important to put the childlike things down that don't favor you, but to keep that innocent quality about you as well. I'm praying this makes sense. I know it does. I'm not going to say if it makes sense, because I know it does make sense. It's just a matter of it being grasped for real. Because, I mean, this is just natural human ways of life. So I'm going to get into your oracle. So for your first card, you have water, flow. That is very fitting, since we were talking about emotions. You have focus on your priorities. Eye of the needle, intentionality. Come to the edge. And trust. Excuse this card. I accept that my inner voice will always guide me correctly. And then focusing your priorities says, where you put your focus is where you receive your outcome. Your priorities are calling to you, which may produce a feeling of anxiety unless you give them the time and attention they and you deserve. Even a small amount of time devoted to your priorities will help you feel better and more confident. So again, if this is going back to a relationship, yes, if emotions that you're uncomfortable with are being brought to the surface and you're being called to focus on them or tap into them, yes, it can be overwhelming and at times frustrating, and it can cause uncomfortability. But I think it's important to know that everything that is good for you will not always be comfortable. It won't, because that's the only way you can grow. It's not going to be a easy process for all of you, and for some of you, it depending on how you flow. If you were to flow with it, it will be easier than it would be if you were to make it difficult for yourself. That does not mean it'll be like a walk in the park or anything, but it's to say, if you force it another way, obviously the tides or whatever, it'll be a struggle to try to go the opposite way of the water, the opposite way God wants you to go, when greater is on the other side. Then even with this come to the edge card, it's very risky to go to the edge of this. It's like floating in the air. She falls off that, she's falling into whatever. It is scary. It does make your heart beat. It does make your palms sweaty just thinking about doing that. But once you do it, if you can say you did it, and you can say, oh, I overcame that fear of getting to know myself or getting to know someone else or tapping into that uncomfortable part or whatever it is. But with this eye of the needle intentionality card, I think if you were to focus on it in that way, just to be precise and dumb it down if you have to. I know it sounds crazy, but say if this is dealing with a partnership and you both keep hitting this wall or like just the same things over and over again, I can guarantee you probably, if this is a healthy, happy relationship and you just so happen to you're confused on what's going on, you probably have the same goal in mind, but because, again, dealing with a relationship is two totally different people, two totally different upbringings, two totally different dynamics. No matter how long you've been together, you still had two totally different upbringings. So you have to both find that one tiny thing, and even if it's the size of like thread going in the needle, even if it's that size, and build from that. Start from there and stay committed. Because even with sewing, you think about it, you mess up one little stitch and you can knock the whole thing off. Like you can knock the whole shirt off, the dress, whatever it is you're making. If you kind of like, you have to have some type of precision, and you want to be careful because needles also are pointy. And this is a very delicate situation, or so it seems to be. It seems to be a very careful situation that we're talking about here. With this come to the edge, the needle here, the priorities. Shoot, even when you're dealing with water in itself, water is a very, very powerful element. Think about the ocean and how vast it is, and rivers, and they're just endless, and how much there is involved in the water, and how powerful it can be, and how it can overtake anyone. Even with this trust, I accept that my inner voice will always guide me correctly. Whatever you believe in, whether it be God, a higher power, yourself, whatever, trust that. Trust that it won't lead you astray. And at times I will say this, and I'm not here to tell anybody what to believe, but I will say this. At times when you cannot trust yourself, go to something higher. I encourage that for anyone, because there will be moments where you're just so shaken up by something and you don't know where to go. You have to have, it's good to have some type of peace of mind and sanity and something to lean into when you don't have all the answers, because again, we're all just adults trying to make it through, but we still just kids at the end of the day. I mean, we're adults, but you know what I mean. Like, we're just trying to make it and figure it out. We don't have all the answers, otherwise why would we be here? You know what I mean? So let me go ahead. I'm going to read your ancestor message out the book, which is Water Flow, and that is on page, I don't know. 63. It says, about 71% of the Earth's surface is covered with water, and the oceans hold about 96.5% of it. Although the oceans contain the vast majority of available water, water also exists in the air as vapor and in rivers, lakes, ice caps, and glaciers. It's found in the ground as soil moisture, in aquifers, plants, and animals, and of course in human beings as well. It's constantly moving from one place to another and one form to another in a perpetual collaboration with other elements to create a variety of weather patterns, from gentle rains to violent thunderstorms. In the process, it serves as an important ecological function of distributing water throughout the planet as it flows from one form to another and one place to another. Not only is water essential to all life, but its continual flow from slow and quiet to rapid and intense is a metaphor for the continual movement of life itself. Go with the flow is a familiar expression that is reflective of one of the major characteristics of this ancestor, yet you're finding it difficult to do so lately. Constant interruptions, distractions, and unpredictable and unexpected events have demanded your attention, creating considerable tension and stress. Whether you realize it or not, this is all a part of the flow of life. To remember what a smoother flow is like, you must pause, breathe, and move your body more slowly, slow enough to experience the fluidity and grace of movement that are possible. Take a few minutes now and throughout the day to move more slowly with intention and presence, and notice how you feel. Make your movements an active meditation, like Qigong, Qigong or yoga. I don't know what that says. Qigong, if you know what that is. In doing this, at some point, you will not just be in the flow, you will be the flow. Whenever you take a drink of water, savor it, sipping slowly, tracking it as it pours into your body while saying a prayer of gratitude. So, I definitely wasn't thinking about the fact that we are water. I was thinking about a mass amount of water, your emotions just pop, but your emotions are you. So, I guess I was, but not in this way. But it's interesting to put it that way. I think that it's an amazing way to put it. So if you feel off, if you don't feel like you're flowing, if you feel like you're forcing yourself, not the situation, but yourself, just feel into yourself. Trust yourself. Trust that your body knows when something is off. And you have to also trust when it's healthy discomfort and when it's unhealthy discomfort as well, because it will be times, again, especially if this is in terms of a relationship, because all good things do not always come easy, and it'll be worth it in the end. Slow and steady definitely wins the race when it comes to getting to know another person, sharing yourself and committing yourself. You want to always make sure you're putting your best foot forward and there's teamwork involved. And know that whether there's a problem in the relationship, the problem is in the relationship. It's not the other person and it's not you. And I think that once, if this is a partner we're talking about here, once you both learn that, there will be a lot more security and stability that this relationship can be built on. Now, if this is in reference to you building a legacy, a business, the same rules apply here. You're going to get anxious. You're going to get sweaty. Palms are sweaty. You're going to have to get down to the detail, the precise details, and you're going to have to build this thing from the ground up with all the intention, with all good intention. And you're going to have to go into it knowing that there will be moments that aren't comfortable, but stay focused on your priorities. Focus on the needle, the end result. Remember why you started, and trust that God got you. And no matter what, even if you did fall off this, you're not going to fall far. You're going to get picked right back up. You won't fall though. You won't. It says come to the edge, not fall off. So I think it's important to I think trust would be a big thing here, whether it's with your partner, with yourself, or with a higher power. I think it's important to know that your priorities are rooted in good faith, and it's important to know that you have a stable, welcoming, beautiful community, like around you. Community. You have a stable community around you. I'm seeing even these people in the background, like cheering you on. You have a lot of people cheering you on. You have a lot of people supporting you. If this is a relationship, like I said, there are people that support this relationship, this endeavor, this business, whatever it is. You have a whole tribe behind you. And I think that once you get the emotions, you both get your emotions in check. And maybe you both do need to grow up a little bit, in a sense, when it comes to the relationship, or when it comes to, if this isn't a relationship for those of you and it's just building something, it'll be different for all of you. But if it's just building something outside of that, it's important you have to at times take your emotions out of it, because not even to be funny, but none of these really point to, it says trust, come to the edge, intentionality, focus on your priorities, and flow. It doesn't say anything like, and I'm not saying to completely disregard your emotions. I just feel like for what it is that you're trying to obtain here, the emotion part, the uncomfortable parts of it may need to be put to the side until they don't need to be. You know what I mean? Like, if there is something that's just like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing this shit. You know what I mean? Like that, like if you're like dead, you know what I mean? And you know, when you want something, if it's somebody you want and you know you will go to the ends of the earth for them, then this ain't for you. I'm talking about for somebody who's just like giving and not receiving anything. But that doesn't seem to be picking up here. But I'm saying, the reason I say put the emotions aside until you need them is because that would be a call to need them. Like, all right, wait, something out of balance here, blah, blah, blah. You know, we need to figure out if we're on the same page, something like that. But this seems like two people on the same page, two people who want the same thing. There just seems to be some sort of dysfunction here that is causing a rift. Like, and it's either because the child in you, or you're not understanding of the child, now the person they're not understanding the child in you, the inner child, maybe the wounds that you've been through that need to be released, the past influence that need to be released essentially, but there is just not being recognized enough, so it can be pulled out in order to be released. But there's going to continue to be this wall here unless what's important is brought out and focused on. You know, if you continue to wallow in what is not, or wallow in the what isn't working, you're going to continue to be met with these signs telling you, listen, you need to get intentional, you need to think more like particular, like you need to take more risks when it comes to this thing. You need to, and risks, I mean risks as far as what it is that you'll stretch your uncomfortability, not in a way where you're like completely back against the wall, but I mean, a lot of times we stay in our comfort zones out of fear. But when you want something great, especially 10 of Cups vibes, you're going to have to get a little uncomfortable. So I think what's blocking your manifestation in general is if this is a partnership, there are people, a person or people here who are either not recognizing their inner child enough to and they're not embracing the childlike parts of the other or themselves, or they're thinking too like to my way, the highway, or like rigid, or just not wanting to, like you want to build up until a certain point, but then it's like, oh, I'm not comfortable going that far. That's just what I'm getting here. Like, I want to build with you, but I don't want to do that, you know? And I think a lot of it comes from the fact that you don't trust yourself, and you don't trust that God will do it for you. But I guarantee you, if you put your priorities in order, you write down a list and get really serious about what it is that you want, or you have that conversation and you get really serious about what you want, God's going to make a way for you. And it's going to work itself all out. Whether this is, it says marriage here, so whether this is rooted in marriage, you want to get married, you want to have the kids, you want to have a family, it'll all come to you as soon as you face whatever it is that needs to be faced, and take care of what needs to be taken care of, and prioritize what needs to be prioritized. This is giving me like hermit vibes. This angel with the light is giving me hermit vibes. So I'm with the focus on your priorities. I think it's time for you to get introspective and go a little deeper and pray about it. This angel here is telling you to pray about it. And I always encourage that. So, I mean, it goes without saying, there's something you need to bring to God, to your higher source, and to get clear on, because it's out of whack a little bit here, obviously. But with some trust in yourself and your partner, or whatever it is that you're building and creating, I just really trusting, even through the bad, even when they seem like they on the other side, and they never are. If it's a good partner, they never are on the other side. Even when it looks like it, you may look like you're on the other side to them too, and that's something worth thinking about a lot of times. And again, if this is dealing with a relationship, a lot of times in relationships we mirror each other without even realizing it sometimes. So it's important to know your partner, know yourself, flow, and be intentional in what it is that you have going on, or whatever it is that you want to attain in this life, because it's here for you. So, Pile 2, this is all I have for you. I pray this resonates with you. If it does, please let me know down in the comments. Like and subscribe as well if you choose to. You can also book a personal session with me at my website, www.theangelicmuse.com. I do intuitive tarot sessions as well as distance Reiki sessions. And you can also follow me at theangelicmuse over on IG if you'd like to connect with me over there. But other than that, I thank you so much for being here, and I pray you enjoy the rest of your day or your night. Hey, Pile 3. So if you chose the Chevron Amethyst, here is your reading. I'm going to start out with your tarot first. So for your first card, you have the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. Your second card, you have the Moon in reverse. And for your third card, you have Death in reverse. So, what is blocking your manifestation? I believe what's blocking your manifestation is your lack of light. Not that you don't have a light, but I think you are having a hard time finding it because of your past experiences, because of the hand you have been dealt. I feel like maybe for some of you, you may reap the benefits of things, but they're short-lived. And then there are some of you who are comfortable where you are, but not because you like it, but because you're fearful of what's to come. You're fearful of changing the way you've been doing things, even though they may not be of your best interest. The Moon in reverse does talk about like things being revealed. So I do feel like maybe some of you have found that maybe some of you are realizing what it is that is stopping you from this manifestation, which would be yourself. Again, with this Moon card in reverse, and then the Nine of Pentacles upright is basically just being thankful for all that you have, but you seem to have a hard time doing that because you're realizing that what you've been doing this whole time may have been an illusion. It's like illusion that you weren't even aware of, and now you think that that is all you're worth when that's not the case. It's interesting because the Death card is represented by the number 13. And I don't know why this is coming to me, but I just saw this thing yesterday and it said if we had 13 months instead of 12, every month would have 4 weeks, 28 days, something like that. And every day would fall on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Like it would all align in a way if we had 13 months. So it's weird to me because I feel like if you were to actually get this Death card in a upright position, when you actually took the plunge, everything would smooth out. Everything would smooth out itself out for you, and you wouldn't. What was revealed to you with this Moon in reverse won't seem as dark. It won't feel like, oh my gosh, what did I just learn? It would be more like, oh, I learned that about myself. Okay, well, how can I apply it in this way? You know what I mean? Because the sun and the moon do complement each other at the end of the day. And if it weren't for the moon illuminating onto us, we wouldn't have no light. So I think it's important to understand the gravity and the weight that the moon does hold, other than it just being this negative, oh, I found out this horrible thing, so let me just wallow, let me just stay in it and depend on everyone for everything and not own up to my own thing. That's what I'm getting here. And it's no shade or anything, because we are human. And I think that's why I'm able to explain it so well, because I've been here before too. We've all been here. And it's nothing new to the human race. So it's nothing to beat yourself up about for. It's not even something to, I mean, naturally as people, we get upset and we cry when things aren't going the way we want. Maybe not always cry, but we get upset and sad or disappointed. It's just regular, but it's important to know that you cannot, here's the thing. It's important to know you can't escape God or what God wants for you. You can not go along with it. You have free will to do that. You have free will to not go after everything you desire in this life, but you have the free will to actually do it. And all God gives us is the plan. Like, this is it. This is what you can do. This is your gifts. This is what you have to work with, this and that. And it's on us to do whatever we choose to with it, for good or for bad, for right or for wrong. And I'm feeling like with this 9 here, this 9 of Pentacles, 9 representing completion, that it's like 10 is when you, the 10 is the wheel of fortune when it's starting to turn again. And but that 9, that point before you get to the big finish, like, that's where you're putting everything you learned together, where you're doing your introspection and you are being thankful for all you have. Yours being reversed in the way that it is giving me like you don't know what to be thankful for, because things may be taken away from you as soon as they're given, or you may not know the value of appreciating something. You may not know how to appreciate, and that's literally something people have to learn how to do, is appreciate some naturally, you have an appreciation for some things, but there are other things you have to learn how to appreciate. So maybe there's something here that may be being taken for granted, or isn't being appreciated, and it could be causing you to see some type of truth, or maybe that's why the secret was revealed. But I think that it's important to know that even when you notice something about yourself or someone else, whatever, and it may not seem the most pleasant, it can still be worked with. And there is no reason to become dependent on that way of life. That's no reason to get comfortable. That's no reason to not want to just don't. I don't recommend for anyone to stay stuck in anything. But with this death card here, there's like something in you that I'm going to get into the oracle in a minute to get more insight, but it's just something within you that is blocking this manifestation. It's not really an outer thing. It's not really a teamwork thing. It's literally something with you. But let me get into your oracle here. So you have free spirit, rebel, employment change, detox, courage. I find the inner strength to face fear with confidence, and TikTok. So going back to what I was saying, I think that what is blocking your manifestation is your light, especially with this the rebel card here being so dark, I think that, I mean, the moon here, this crescent moon, is giving me high priestess energy. It's about knowing yourself and being intuitively guided, and the light here is what is the focus. You're not the darkness so much, but I do feel like with you, with this death card and the moon, it's just giving me dark energy, and it's giving me clouded judgment. And this could be something. It says employment change here. Your career path is leading you in a higher direction with positive changes to support your dreams, priorities, passions, and life purpose. Trust that these changes will help you release the old and welcome the new. You're being supported each step of the way. Okay, so maybe for some of you, you're afraid to jump into this career change. Maybe this is the thing that is stopping you. Maybe your fear of thinking that you can do it is stopping you from this death. And maybe what you're not appreciating enough, or what isn't stable enough for you, and just seems like it's lacking, is again just your own independence, your own ability to do it on your own. You can't continue to rely on other people to do it for you if that is what's going on here. You have to put your big boy, big girl panties on, underwear on, and keep it pushing. Sometimes, like I was just telling Pao too, like everything in life is not going to be comfortable. It's not going to be comfortable, but that the every good moment for you in life isn't going to be comfortable, but that does not make it any less good. Doesn't make it any less like beneficial or life changing. But let me read your ancestor card with the rebel. It's on page 128, and it says the rebel ancestor challenges the status quo. It's not about rebelling against something, but rather making a stand for what they believe in and speaking up and acting on these beliefs without the need for others' agreement or approval. The rebel is a nonconformist who is willing to be assertive and make a stand for their beliefs when necessary, refusing to live within the social structure of societal norms. There are many examples of rebels throughout history. Susan B. Anthony, John Lennon, Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, Joan of Arc, Rosa Parks, and Alexander Hamilton. Some rebels may exert such an influence that they change the society in which they live, while others may live their truth more quietly, yet still boldly push the boundaries of what is considered normal. You're finding yourself imprisoned in rituals and routines that no longer carry the same meaning they once did, yet you have silently stayed the course for fear of others' disapproval and criticism. You're now questioning the conditioning that has been imposed upon you through parental, familial, and societal norms, and feeling the urge to break you out of these patterns. It's time to do so. Quiet the inner critic and release the judgments you carry about yourself. Speak your truth without blame, shame, or judgment, and allow others to have their reactions to your doing so. Express yourself through your actions, your clothing, and your art, and be willing to take some risks in all these ways, and you will experience a newfound freedom that does no harm to anyone or anything. It's your life. Live it. So that just goes back to this Nine of Pentacles energy. When I was trying to figure, I'm like, maybe somebody's not being appreciative of something. You are not being appreciative of yourself. You're not being appreciative of your growth. You're not being appreciative of what you learn. You're not being appreciative of your light. Again, there's darkness here, and then for me to pull these and have the darkness all throughout this rebel card, but the focus here is on her light that she's sitting on with this moon. Maybe I think what's important to know and understand when it comes to your own life independently is that nobody can live it for you. And speaking from experience, this is something that I personally have struggled with too, so I can relate in that sense. Just feeling like you have to show up a certain way for people because it looks good. And I think it's important to appreciate your own journey and appreciate your own growth, and to dive as deep as you want. Do what you want as long as it isn't hurting anyone and it's helping. As the card says, that's my motto, and I'm all with it. As long as it's not helping, as long as it's helping and it's not hurting anybody, and I'm not doing, excuse me for hitting the mic, if I'm not doing anything to anybody, and if this is in regards to an employment change, and it's like maybe something surrounding like esoteric or the occult or something like that. Maybe it's something, maybe everybody's a lawyer in your family and you want to be a doctor. Maybe everybody's a teacher and you want to be a scientist. I don't know. But I say you go with it because you only have one life to live. What's blocking your manifestation is the fact that you are allowing other people to dictate it as well. And then in turn, it's causing you to do it yourself. That's what I'm getting here. And then with this detox, repairing the body, mind, and spirit. I'm not going to go on and read these cards from the book, but with this detox, I can already tell it's you. And we do that to ourselves sometimes. I'm not here to beat you up or tell you, oh, you're doing it all wrong. There are other ways to go about it. And I'll just say that, you know, it's going to be specific to each and every one of you, but you need to literally detox from yourself and your thoughts of and your perception of yourself, and know that you were made and created by something greater than even you. Like, you don't even understand your potential. Like, and I know it sounds crazy to say because I'm telling you that you're the thing blocking you, but your lack of independence and wanting to be who you truly are is what is stopping you. But it's waiting for you. The thing about death is it's going to come whether we want it or not. Death is the only guarantee in life. Change and death. Change and death. And depending on your views on death, whether you think it's a good thing or a bad thing, will let you know everything you need to know about your own ego deaths, or like your deaths through life. Like, if that makes sense. Like, just when you stop being one thing and start being another. Because it is scary, it is unknown, but there is nothing bad about moving forward and beginning something else. There's nothing wrong with that. If it's beneficial and it's calling you to do it, and it is, everything is, why stay stuck? You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with going against the grain sometimes. There's nothing wrong with that. And I guarantee you're not the only one that's going against. You probably, this is in regards to an employment change. Like, well, it is. But for those of you who are thinking of people passing judgment, or maybe your friends, your family, just, I think that you need to stop paying attention to those people. Because people who truly love you, who want to see you win, they don't stifle you in the first place. They don't make you feel less than, and they support you. And this is whether they, again, as long as it's not hurting anybody and it's helping and it's fulfilling and it's their purpose, it's aligned with you and it's destined for you, they wouldn't, and you wouldn't stop yourself from it. So unless this is one of those things, but from these cards are telling me it's not. Unless this is one of those things where you're like, do I want this? Like, this might be bad for everyone. Then maybe you can think twice about it. But if it's not, then don't make up extra thoughts in your head, and don't allow other people to do it either. Courage. I find the inner strength to face fear with confidence. Fear is gonna come because that death is there. The moon is there. The moon is about releasing fear. The moon in reverse, I'm sorry, is about releasing fear. It says there. And it's about self-deception. So just, what is it that you're telling yourself when it comes to this goal or this manifestation? What are you putting in your mind? Are you taking the time out? Turn off all the lights. You know why I say that? Because it's so dark. It's so dark in these cards. She even has a blindfold on. You need to just get quiet. You need to close your eyes, shut out the world. I know vacations aren't necessarily feasible for everybody, but if you can do a quick little getaway and a solo, just away from people that are just distractions, just things that are distractions. Maybe if you took whatever it is, if this isn't about employment, say, for example, you want to be a tarot reader, take some cards with you. Go away and just relax and pull your cards. Get to know your cards. Pray about it. Get to know God. Get to know the divine. Get to know your higher source. Whatever it is that you need. But that's just if it's for that. If it's for whatever it is that you're inquiring about as far as your manifestation goes, I think it's important to know that with this TikTok, the clock in their hands, this is all dependent on you. It's all dependent on you, but know that time is not a factor. Like, it's not. These numbers are like literally being obliterated off. They're like just going away somewhere. Time is not a factor. Don't feel like you need to rush this manifestation. Don't feel like you need to be on a timeline or compare yourself to others or anything. I think your main focus needs to be on releasing whatever fear, whatever doubts, whatever anxieties, whatever negativities are within you, because whatever people have told you, whatever you've told yourself, your concept of time, your concept of when maybe you have a 5-year plan or a 3-year, 2-year, focus on what it is that you desire, focus on what it is that you need in this life, and it'll come to you. You don't necessarily need to put a time on it. You don't have to be so like nitpicky, I guess that's the word I'm looking for, like about, okay, I need to have it this way, this way, this way, or else I'm going to get scared and not do it at all, or I need to go this way about it, because if I go this way and I don't go that way, then this won't happen. And just turn. I know it sounds crazy, but really, if you can turn out the lights, turn off your mind for just a moment. Maybe even for some of you, you could be listening I know it sounds crazy, but it just came to me. Maybe you could be listening to readings on this and you're getting different like messages about it. I'd advise you to take some time to get to know your own intuition versus other people and them telling you, because this seems like a very heavy, isolated season. Like, it seems like it needs to be like some form of isolation before you can come out and just give it to everybody. Like, you need to really gather yourself and release what no longer serves you. But Pal 3, I thank you so much for being here with me. I am going to close this one out. I think I don't have anything else coming to me, but I thank you so much for being here, and I pray this resonates with you. If it does, please give me a like, a comment, or a subscribe if you feel like doing so. I greatly appreciate it. You can also book a personal session with me over at www.theangelicmuse.com. I do intuitive tarot sessions as well as distance Reiki sessions. And you can also follow me over on Instagram at theangelicmuse if you'd like to connect with me over there as well. But other than that, I thank you all so much for being here, and I pray you enjoy the rest of your day or night.